All right, this is another integration by parts example. It's a really, really tricky one. Now, one thing I'll say about these sort of tricky-ish ones is that you can choose which of these you want to be U and which one you want to be V. In general, you want your less complicated one to be V. Now, that doesn't always work. If you find yourself heading down the garden path, try it the other way. Try making the other one U and V. But in any case, I'm going to make this one V dash, and I'm going to make this one U. So if I run through this, U is going to be sine X, V is going to be cos, oops, not V, U dash is going to be cos X, V dash is going to be e to the X, and V is going to be e to the X. When I put that into my formula, I'm just going to rewrite the question. You'll see why I do that in a minute. Ex sine X with respect to X, that's going to be equal to uv, so Ex, e to the X sine X, and then minus the integral of v u dash, so e to the X cos X with respect to X. All right, so this looks fine. It looks like I'm going to have to do integration by parts all over again. Now, I think I'm going to choose this as my V again. So I'll just do that over here. Let's do it up here. So I'll just box that off. So I've got U is going to be cos X. V dash is going to be negative sine, not V dash, U dash is going to be negative sine X. V dash is going to be e to the X. And V is going to be e to the X. So I'm going to rewrite the whole thing all over again. So the question was e to the X sine X with respect to X equals e to the X sine X minus, and it's going to be UV, so e to the X cos X minus the integral of v u dash negative e to the X sine X with respect to X. All right, so it looks like I'm ending up, or it looks like I'm going to end up in some kind of loop here, because I just keep getting this integral of e to the X sine X, e to the X cos X, e to the X sine X. But this is actually really, really useful. So it's going to be negative, the integral of negative. Now if we have a negative out there, we can move it to here, which is going to make it positive. But then we've got a negative here. So what this actually is negative e to the X sine X dx. And what I've got here is e to the X sine X dx. So I can shift that over to the other side, and I'm going to have 2 of e to the X sine X with respect to X. Now, that's going to be e to the X sine X minus e to the X cos X. Now, we're actually nearly done here because that was the original question, integral of e to the X sine X with respect to X. And we know that 2 times the integral of e to the X sine X with respect to X is equal to e to the X sine X minus e to the X cos X. So, therefore, the integral of e to the X sine X with respect to X is just e to the X sine X minus e to the X cos X all over 2 plus c. A slightly neater version if factorizing is your kind of thing. E to the X is a common factor, the half out the front rather than divide by. Job done. Yeah, look, that's a tricky one. Make sure that you look for that instance. If you see this creep in, if you see the question creep into the answer, you can perform some magic that way.